Good morning students, welcome back to English class. So we were in the lesson number 7, Evans Tries an O Level by Colin Dexter. So this story starts with a telephonic conversation between the governor and the examination board secretary. The prison authorities want to conduct an O-level exam in German language for a prisoner named Evans. The secretary asked about the venue of the exam and also about the invigilator for it. So story Evans tries an O-level is about a cunning prisoner, Evans, who makes a plan to escape from the prison on the day of his German language O-level exam. The jail authorities, on the other hand, are ready to cover up any sort of risk. So, in this chapter, we will see that will he able to succeed in his escape from the prison. So, we have completed your 3 pages and we will continue from there. We have seen in the last previous video that Evans had escaped from the prison thrice due to the recent unrest in the highly guarded areas of the north. He would not be allowed to be present at the governor's residence in Oxford. The governor did not want to be disgraced by Evans. Evans was not a burden, but his presence was uncomfortable. The governor planned to supervise him personally when he visited Oxford. It was possible that Evans was actually interested in adding up to his qualification by learning German. On the 7th of June, Monday at 8:30 p.m., the German teacher shook his hands with Evans at the high security recreational block which was across the D wing. He wished him luck in German language, but Evans could not understand it. Later, Evans realized it and thanked the teacher. Evans the teacher commented that Evans was not prepared and did not even have the slightest chance to pass the exam. Evans said it was possible that he cleared the exam and would surprise everyone. Till here we have seen in the previous video. Let's move to the another paragraph. Following morning, Evans had a visitor, 2 visitors in fact. He tucked his grumpy string vest into his equally grumpy trousers and stood up from his bunk, smiling cheerfully. Morning in Mr. Jackson. This is indeed an honor. Jackson was the senior prison officer on D Wing. He and Evans had already become warm enemies. At Jackson's side stood Officer Stephens, a burly, surly looking man, only recently recruited to the profession. Jackson nodded curtly. And how's our little Einstein this morning then? I think he was due, Mr. Jackson. Evans' face was unshaved and he wore a filthy looking red and white bobble hat upon his head. Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you burst in. So, children, tucked means push, grumpy means dirty, bunk means narrow bed attached to the wall, burly, large and strong man. Burly means large and strong man. Surely means bad-tempered and unfriendly. Recruiter means appointed. Curly means short and brief. Filthy means dirty. So, what happened in the next morning, 8:30, Evans was visited by 2 men. He tucked his dirty string vest into his dirty trousers and stood up from his bed that was attached to a wall. He greeted Mr. Jackson cheerfully and said that it was an honor for him that he visited his cell early in the morning. Jackson was the senior prison officer of D Wing, and both Jackson and Evans were enemies. Mr. Stephens, who was a newly appointed officer and a strong looking man, had come along with Mr. Jackson. Jackson greeted him briefly and then asked him about his well being, made fun of him by calling him Einstein. Evans replied in a similar way by pointing him out that Einstein was a mathematician and then said that he thought that he was a Jew. Evans had not shaved and he was wearing a dirty hat on his head. He asked Jackson to excuse him as he was going to shave when both of them entered his cell. And now moving to the next paragraph, which reminds me Jackson turned his eyes on Stephens. Make sure you take his razor out of the cell when he is finished scraping that ugly mug of his. Clear? One of these days he will do all a favor and cut his bloody throat. For a few seconds Evans looked thoughtfully at a man standing ramrod straight in front of him, a string of Second World War medals proudly padded over his left breast pocket. Mr. Jackson, was it you who took my nail scissors away? Evans had always worried about his hands. So here scraping means to remove unwanted covering. Here means shaving. Mug means a person's face. Ramrod means here a strict supervisor. Padded means here light. Nail scissors means a nail cutter. After hearing him, Jackson told Stephen that this reminded him that Stephen should take away his razor as soon as he had completed shaving his ugly looking face. He also added that one day Evans would do a favor for the prison officer by cutting down his throat with a razor. Evans gave a thoughtful look at his strict supervisor who had medals from the Second World War lined up on the side of his blazer, on the breast pocket. He asked him, Mr. Jackson, was it you who took away my nail cutter? Evans was always worried about how his hands looked. Next paragraph. And to your nail file too. Look, for a moment Evans' eyes muttered dangerously, but Jackson was ready for him. Orders of the governor Evans. He leaned forward and leered, his voice dropping to a harsh, contemptuous whisper. You want to complain? Evans shrugged his shoulders lightly. The crisis was over. You have got half an hour to smarten yourself, Evans, and take that bloody hat off. Me? And who? Evans put his right hand lovingly on the top of the filthy woolen and smiled sadly. Do you know, Mr. Jackson is the only thing that's ever brought me any sort of luck in life. Kind of lucky charm, if you know that what I mean. And today I thought, well, with me, exam and all that. Buried somewhere in Jackson was a tiny core of compassion, and Evans knew it. So here, smoldered means what is glowed with anger, leaned means bent, leered means watched and stared, shrugged means discarded and dismissed, contemptuous means what disrespectful, compassion means pity or sympathy. Here, Jackson replied that he took his nail file too. Evans got angry and his eyes started glowing with anger. Jackson was ready for this and he answered that it was the governor's order. He bent towards him and asked in a whisper whether he wanted to complain. Evans denied by moving his shoulders. Jackson told Evans that he had only half an hour to get ready and also told him to remove his dirty hat. Evans moved his hand towards his dirty woolen hat and smiled sadly. He told Mr. Jackson that he wanted to take it with him as it was his lucky charm. Evans knew that Jackson was sympathetic towards him. Next. Just this once, then Shirley Temple, if there was one thing that Jackson genuinely loved about Evans, it was his long wavy hair and get shaving. At 8:45 the same morning, the Reverend Stuart Leary left his bachelor flat in Bond Street and stepped out briskly towards Carfax. The weatherman reported temperatures considerably below the normal for early June, and a long black overcoat and a shallow crowned clerical hat provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle which had set in half an hour earlier and which now spattered the thick lenses of his spectacles. In his right hand, he was carrying a small brown suitcase which contained all that he would need for his morning duties, including a sealed question paper envelope, a yellow invigilation form, a special authentication card from the examination board, a paper knife, a Bible. He was to speak to the woman's glide that afternoon on the Book of Ruth and a current copy of the Church Times. Here, Shirley Temple means an actress famous for her wavy hair. Lord means hate. Reverend means a member of the church. Drizzle means light shower of rain. Spatter means splash or spray. Authentication means verify. Paper knife means a blunt knife for cutting paper. Glide means association. So here Jackson allowed him to wear the hat just once. He also teased him by calling him Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was an actress who had long wavy hair. Jackson hated Evans' long wavy hair. He then asked him to shave. At 8:45 a.m., Stuart Lee, who was a member of the church, left his bachelor flat in Bond Street. He started walking fast towards Carfax. Weather reports claimed that temperature would be below normal in early June. Lee was wearing a black overcoat and a clerical hat to protect himself from rainfall that started within half an hour. It had also splashed water on his spectacles. He was carrying a small brown colored suitcase in his right hand. It had all the things required for his morning duties, such as a sealed question envelope, a yellow supervisor form, a special permission card that verified him as a supervisor, a Bible as he had to speak for a women's association on the Book of Ruth, and the latest copy of the Church Times. Moving to the next paragraph. The 2-hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:15 a.m. Evans was lathering his face vigorously when Stephens brought in two small square tables and set them opposite each other in the narrow space between the bunk on the one side and on the other a distempered stone wall. Next, Stephens brought in two hard chairs, the slightly less battered of which he placed in front of the table which stood nearer the cell door. Jackson put in a brief final appearance. Behave yourself, lady. Evans turned and nodded. Here, scheduled means planned or fixed. Schedule means what? Planned or fixed. Lathering means to form with soap. Lathering means what? To form with the soap. Vigorously means what? Strongly, very strongly. Distempered means painted with distemper. Battered means what? Worn out. So what happened? The 2-hour exam was planned to begin at 9:50 a.m. Ivan was forming his face strongly when Stephens brought in two small square tables. He put them opposite each other in the small space between the bed and the painting wall. He then brought into two chairs. The less worn out chair was placed in front of the table which was near the cell door. Jackson made a small final appearance and asked Evans to behave properly. Evans turned and showed his acceptance. And this, next line, and this, Jackson pointed to the pin-ups of. Evans turned and nodded again. I was going to take down anyway. A minister, isn't he? The chap come in to sit in, I mean. And how did you know that? Asked Jackson quietly. Well, I had to sign some forms, didn't I? And I couldn't. Evans drew the razor carefully down his left cheek and left a neat swath in the white lather. Can I ask you something, Mr. Jackson? Why did they have to bag me in this cell? He nodded his head vaguely to a point about the door. Well, students, pin-ups means what? Posters. Swath, S-W-A-T-H. Here means a board strip or area of something. A board strip or area of something. Buck means a small microphone. Vaguely means what? Very roughly. Here, Jackson ordered Evans to remove the posters which Evans had pinned up on the cell wall. Evans agreed to this and said that he was about to remove them as he knew that it was some churchman who was going to come for the exam. Jackson queried as to how he knew that. Evans said that he had noticed it when he had signed the examination forms. Evans continued with his shaving and sought Jackson's permission to ask him something. He then asked him why the officers had put a microphone in his cell, and he turned his head towards the space above the door. Not a very neat job, considered Jackson. They don't honestly think I am going to try to. They are taking no chances, Evans. Nobody in his senses would take any chance with you. Who is going to listen in? I will tell you who is going to listen in, lady. It is the governor himself. See, he don't trust you a bloody inch. Nor do I. He will be watching you like a hawk, Evans, so keep your nose clear. He walked towards the door. Evans nodded. He had already thought of it, and number 2 handkerchief was lying ready on the bunk, a neatly folded square of white linen. Just one more thing, Einstein. Yeah, was it? Good luck, Olson. So here, considered means admit. Lady here refer to a boy. Hawk means H-A-W-K. Hawk means a bird of prey with broad rounded wings and long tail. Here, Jackson admitted that the microphone was not put perfectly as Evans easily spotted it. Evans questions him why they think that he would run. Jackson replies that anyone with a sense would not trust him. Evans then questions him as to who was going to listen to him. Jackson replied that Governor would listen as he did not trust him. Jackson told him that even he didn't trust him, so he would watch him like a hawk. So he would watch him like like a hawk, a bird that keeps its eye on its prey. He finally asked him to keep his nose clean, and Evans agreed. He knew this already, and so he had kept a neat hanky on the bed. Jackson wished to him good luck before leaving. Next paragraph. In a little lodge just inside the prison's main gate, the Reverend S. McLeary signed his name neatly in the visitor's book and thence walked side by side with a silent prison officer across the exercise yard to D wing, where he was greeted by Jackson. The wing heavy outer door was unlocked and locked behind them. The heavy inner door, the same, McLeary was handed into Stephen's keeping. Get the razor, murmured Jackson. Stephens nodded. Well, keep your eyes clear. Stephen nodded again, and McLeary, his feet clanging up the iron stairs, followed his new guide and finally stood before a cell door where Stephens opened the peephole and looked through. That's him, sir. So here, lodge means gatehouse, cottage or gatehouse or cottage. Murmur means what? Whisper. Keep one's eyes keen. This phrase means what? To be on the alert. Watch carefully or vigilantly for something. Clanging means what? Make a sound. Peephole means what? Keyhole or opening. So here the priest McLeary signed his name in the visitor's book at the gatehouse. He then followed the prison officer through the exercise yard to D wing. There he was greeted by Jackson. The heavy outer door of the D wing was opened and then shut behind them. The same happened when they entered through the inner door. McLeary joined Stephens. Jackson ordered Stephens to remove the razor from the cell. Stephen agreed. He also told him to keep a close watch. McLeary made a vibrating sound while climbing up the stairs, following his new guide. When they reached the entrance of the cell, Stephens opened the peephole and informed McLeary that he was the person who had to take the exam. Next paragraph now. Evans facing the door sat quietly at the further of the two tables, his whole attention riveted to the textbook of elementary German grammar. Stephens took the key from his ring, and the cell's lock sprang back with a thundered metallic thwack. It was 9:10 a.m. when the governor switched on the receiver. He had instructed Jackson to tell Evans of the temporary little precaution that was only fair, as if Evans wouldn't spot it. But it wasn't at all a bit theoretical. Schoolboyish, almost. How you on earth was Evans going to try anything on today? If he was so anxious to make another break, why in heaven's name hadn't he tried it from the recreational block. Much easier, but he hadn't. And there he was now, sitting in a locked cell, all the prison officers on the alert. Two more locked doors between his cell and the yard, and a yard with a wall as high as a haystack. Yes, Evans was as safe as houses. So here, rivet means what? Here, fixed. Sprang, passed off, spring. Thudded means strike something with a heavy sound. Twang means a string, a strong ringing sound. Thwang means what? Twang. Thwang means what? A strong ringing sound. Haystack, a packed pile of hay, dried grasses. Hay stack means what? Haystack means what? Dried grass. Packed a pile of hay, that is called what? A haystack. I repeat, revert means here fixed. Sprang means what? Past of spring. Thudded means what? Strike something with a heavy sound. Twack means what? A strong ringing sound. Haystack means what? A packed pile of hay, or means dried grass. Evans was here. Evans was sitting quietly, facing the door, slightly away from the two tables. He was concentrating on the elementary German grammar. Stephens took one of the keys from the ring and opened the lock. The lock of the cell made a ringing sound after it sprung up. At 9 a.m., the governor switched on the receiver of the microphone. He ordered Jackson to tell Evans to be careful, as they had installed a microphone in his cell. He thought that it would be good to forewarn him. He said it in a as though Evans would never be able to spot it. A thought came to the governor's mind that all this seemed like a theoretical drama, and all the preparation were like those done by schoolboys. He thought that how could Evans think of escaping that day? He would have tried it when he was at the recreational block because it was easier to escape from there, but today he was locked in his cell. All the officers were closely watching him. There were two doors between his cell and the yard. There were walls high as what? Piles of dry grass. There were walls as high as piles of dry grass. Yes, Evans was totally safe now. So till we will complete here the page numbers 75. Next video we will continue from the page number 76. So we have seen in this video today that as we know that is the author of this lesson is what? Colin Dexter, and he was an English crime writer known for his Inspector Morse series of novels, which were written in 1975 and 1999 and were adopted as a TV series. So this story starts with a telephonic conversation between the governor and the examination board secretary. The prisoner authorities want to conduct an O-level examination, means what? Ordinary level examination in German language for a prisoner named Evans. The secretary asked about the venue of the exam. The place, venue means the place of the exam, and also about the invigilator, the supervisor for it. The governor replies that the exam can be conducted in Evans' cell and a churchman will be appointed as the invigilator for the exam. They both then end their conversation by deciding how and when the examination will be conducted. A senior prison officer, Jackson, visits Evans' cell to conduct an inspection. Senior officer's name was Jackson. he visits what Ivan's cell to conduct an inspection so that if any weapon may be hidden. They are going through this checking because Evans had successfully escaped from prison earlier also. The episode gave him the name of Evans the Break. The governor was not ready to take any risk with this as it would bring a bad name to him. Jackson and Stephen checked the cell thoroughly. They had taken away his nail scissors earlier, and Jackson ordered Stephens to take a razor blade as soon as he had shaved. Jackson ordered Evans to take off his hat but left it because Evans requested him not to do so as it was his lucky hat for the exam. All sorts of arrangements were made to keep a check on Evans. Even a microphone was placed in his cell. On the day of examination, Mac Leary, the churchman, reached the prison and was associated to the cell by Stephens. The governor was informed that the exam was about to begin and the cell did not have any weapons. The governor ordered the officer to check the churchman so that Evans may not use his belonging of Mac Leary as a weapon. Churchman and his belongings were searched. The paper knife was also removed so that Evans might not use it to injure the churchman in order to escape. So this much we have seen in this till page number 75. We will continue in the next class. Until then, keep reading, keep watching these videos, and goodbye from me.